Here we go. A landmark is an important building, structure, or place that people can easily recognize. It's something special and unique that helps people identify a location. For example, the Statue of Liberty in New York is a famous landmark. Landmarks are often significant historically, culturally, or architecturally, and they help us navigate and understand different places.
Landmark, an important building, structure, or place.
Absolutely. So the word carved means to cut something into a particular shape. For example, when you carve a pumpkin for Halloween, you use a knife to create a face or a design. In other words, to carve is to shape or sculpt something by cutting away parts of it.
Carve, cut something into a shape.
All right, Abril, let's talk about clues. Clues are hints or pieces of information that help you solve a problem or a mystery. For example, in a mystery story, the detective looks for clues at the scene of the crime, like fingerprints or dropped items to figure out what happened. In other words, clues guide you toward the answer. They can be small details or signs that help you understand something better. For example, if you find a footprint at the scene, that footprint is a clue that can lead you to the person who is there. So clues are basically the little pieces of the puzzle that help you figure things out.
Clues, hints that help solve a problem or a mystery.
All right, Abril, let's dive into the word grand. Grand means something that is great, large, or magnificent. For example, you might say that a grand ballroom is very large and beautiful with elegant decorations and a spacious layout. In other words, when we say something is grand, we mean it's impressive and large in scale or importance. For instance, a grand celebration would be a very big and fancy party full of excitement and elegance. So grand is all about something big, impressive, and wonderful.
Grand, great or large.
Got it. Let's talk about massive. Massive means something that is very, very large or heavy. For example, you might say that a massive mountain is enormous and takes up a lot of space. In other words, when we describe something as massive, we mean it's extremely big and heavy, far beyond the ordinary size. For example, a massive elephant is one that is very large and heavy compared to other animals. So massive is all about something that's huge and very substantial in size or weight.
Massive, very, very large.
All right, let's explore the word monument. A monument is a building, statue, or another object that is created to honor a person, a group of people, or an important event. For example, the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. is a monument built to honor Abraham Lincoln. In other words, a monument serves as a reminder or a tribute to something significant in history or culture. For instance, a war memorial is a monument that honors soldiers who fought in a war. So monument is basically something built to remember and honor important people or events.
Monument, a building, statue, or other subject made to honor a person or event.
All right, let's talk about national. National refers to something that is related to a country as a whole. For example, the national flag represents the entire country and its people. In other words, when we say something is national, we mean it pertains to the whole nation rather than just a local area. For instance, the national anthem is a song that represents the country and is played at important national events. So national is all about anything that belongs to or concerns an entire country.
Natural, something that has a characteristic or has to do with a country.
Let's explore the word traces. Traces are small bits or signs left behind that show that something or someone was there. For example, if you find footprints in the mud, those footprints are traces that indicate someone walked through that area. In other words, traces are like clues that help us understand what happened before. It can be very small and subtle, but they give us information about the past. For example, if you see paw prints in the snow, those paw prints are traces left by an animal. traces are basically the small signs that show us evidence of something that once was.
Traces, small bits or signs left behind that show that something was there.